Welcome to the Dev Shack. I'm Chris, and today I'm going to show you how to replace your wiper washer fluid pump on a Jeep JK. So a 2007 to a 2017 Jeep Wrangler. It's going to be a pretty straightforward process, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. It's pretty gross in there. There's just like a shelf of just residue. Whatever that is. It's disgusting. It's supposed to be clear. To replace the pump, you do not have to remove this, but you do have to drain your wiper fluid because the pump is located on the bottom. And when you pull it out, as you're going to see, the fluid will just come out because it's just located at the bottom, and that's just how gravity works. On my example, I have a fuse box mounted above the ECU here, and that's going to be one of the first hurdles I'm going to have to jump through because I'm going to have to remove this first, get to this ECU. We're going to have to actually remove the ECU and to get down to the pump. The pump is located directly underneath this silver piece. This is your ECU right here. Since we're going to be disconnecting electronics, let's go ahead and disconnect the negative terminal of our battery. And for safe measure, I want to disconnect the positive terminal of my battery as well. I'm going to remove my fuse box. This was featured in an early episode of the channel. Be sure to check it out if you guys haven't already. This is a $60 fuse box I made out of a lunch box and a couple of components I bought on eBay. I believe this piece is made out of some tin that my dad had laying around in the backyard, and I turned it into an S-Pot. It bolts up to this grounding strap wire, and honestly, it's worked really good. Like, I've had no problems with it, and it does its job. I think I've pretty much loosened it up to the point where it can get this out. Never had to remove this before since putting it in, so I really don't remember how this is constrained. Boy, that is constrained. So you guys have a little bit of a top-down angle here. There's that fuse box I was previously talking about. We're going to lift this up out of the way. And under there, you should see 4 separate connectors. Let me get out a flathead screwdriver. This is my favorite tool for this. We're just going to pop these little red tabs back. Now, if this is a little too violent for you, then you can use 2 hands to kind of pry up against the side here. Not too hard, you don't want to damage this, but you can pry it just gently on it, just to get those red tabs out. You want to make sure you're pushing the flat end of the blade down as well. Because if you're just going out, you're going to get out of control, and these red tabs can come out, and if you lose them, you're not going to be able to secure these plugs here. And this is these are some main arteries of your vehicle. Let's just put it that way. So once we got those unplugged, there is a tab on the back of each of these connectors. We're going to pull on that, pull it out. Each of these will have a color corresponding with the color on top of the connector. It's green. Connector's green. We're going to pull out this other one. Now, if yours are stuck together, you got a little bit of dirt and mud in there, you can get your screwdriver, kind of put it in here. Just use that just gently to pry. Gently. Once you get just a little bit of a wiggle, you just got to keep working it and it'll come out. This one's white. See on the top it's white. Connector's white. Pull this other one out. Orange connector. Last one is black. So in order from driver to passenger side, we have black, orange, white, and green. So disconnect all those, move this wiring out of the way. There's a little bit of give in these wires here, so I'm just going to tuck them and just try to get them to sit out of my way. Now what I need to do is remove this from this mount, this bracket under here. I've already removed one of the screws. It's an 8mm screw. There's another one on the inside here, closest to the driver's side fender. I have a 1/4 ratchet, short hex socket on it. This 1/4 ratchet is kind of my go-to for a lot of these engine bay or interior type of R&Is, just because it works out pretty nicely. Now here are what the screws look like. So this is what the screw will look like. Here's the head of the bolt there. 8mm will fit flush. Set that out to the side. It's directly below. I don't have the greatest angle, but it's directly below. Kind of putting my finger on it right now. Looks like you're most definitely going to need a short socket for this third one, just because there's not much clearance that's being allowed, because you have your ABS pump and bracketry for that right behind this. But we pulled out that screw. Got that out, and now this will come right out. We're gonna set this on the workbench for now. So we're just gonna keep that safe. And so we have all our wires here from the one disconnected. I'm gonna grab this big bundle and try to push it over here and hook it on the brake line back here. This white connector actually has a stem that jumps out and attaches to the pump itself. Let me get a close-up of this for you. In here, I have a little connector. Got some pliers here. Let's see if this will work. Seems to be I just broke the tab. Oh no. Here we go. Yeah. Now that's classic right there. This needs to be replaced. But for today, I'm just gonna push it on and maybe find a creative solution on how to secure that. Inside here, you can see there's two lines, one right here and one right here connecting to the pump as well. I'm gonna see if I can disconnect that afterwards, after taking this out. I'm gonna put my needle-nose pliers, and maybe I'll put my screwdriver in there, just right between my reservoir just drained out. But you need to disconnect the lines from this pump here. Pull this end out. We'll pull this end out. Just like that. Now that we have our pump, let's go over to the workbench and check out our new one. Alright, so this is the original pump that went into my Jeep at the factory, and unfortunately it has gone bad. However, there's a couple things we need to save to transfer over to the new pump. Let's take a look at our new pump. This is from Ultra Power, classic Rock Auto purchase here. Looks about right. Connector. Looks about the same. It doesn't have the snap-in clip at the top as this one. So that might be problematic. But otherwise, everything looks the same. The connector is actually flipped on this Ultra Power model. The flat side is on this side closest to my body right here. And then on the original, it's actually on the outside here. We need to transfer over the filter and the grommet. Yeah, now if you want to do a full-on overhaul, then you will need to make sure to order a new filter and a grommet. We're going to pop this off with a flathead screwdriver just right in here, and it should just pop right out pretty nicely. So I have a brush here, and all I'm doing is just kind of using the bristles to poke through the filter. See, it has a bunch of little holes there, and these bristles go through that's kind of breaking through all that dirt that's kind of stuck in those filters. So I'm just gonna do this a little aggressively now. Get that cleaned out good enough to my standard. There's some more on the bottom, so don't forget those. Those are important as well. And I'm just gonna dry this off. Maybe run some water over this. Here's our filter here. I took a couple of seconds to wash it out and kind of just clean it up just a little bit. We're going to put this on our new pump. Make sure that squeezes on, bottoms out. And now this is good to go. And we can put this inside the Jeep now. Seems to be I just broke the tab. Yeah. I'm just going to push it on and maybe find a creative solution on how to secure that. So I want you to grab a zip tie. This one is a pretty small zip tie. The head of the zip tie is nice and slim. What I'm going to do is put that inside the connector, needle it through just like this. Notice the orientation of how I set it up. Get our pump, plug it in. And the theory behind this is we're going to use the head of the zip tie here, the part that fastens the zip tie, and have it attach to this part where naturally the clip would snap into. So we're going to line this up, push this in the connector. As I'm pushing it, I'm just going to center up the head of that zip tie. As I push it together, there you go. It's going to get trapped behind that lock. And now you get another zip tie, put that on, and then tighten it to that original zip tie that's holding onto that clip. There you go. That's how you make. That's not going to come out. The way to disassemble this, unarm it, you just cut the zip tie. There's a convenient slot here where you can stick your blade through and cut it. But otherwise, this is a good way to recreate something like that tab if you're in a quick fix and you don't have access to buying a new connector. I'm going to cut off these ends, kind of clean it up just a little bit so it looks nicer. On the other side, plug in this hose. Have that connected. Now I'm just going to put this down in here. Well, this is still dirty in here, I know. I'll get around to cleaning the engine bay eventually, but it will not be today. There you go. Now that is secured, I need to find a way to keep this in there. I think I'm just going to use another zip tie. Alright, that process seemed too rushed, and it was, because that didn't work. I just drilled through that. I might be able to get a zip tie to do that though. So if you look in there, I have a zip tie just going around that. The hole that I cut into the reservoir kind of left me with a little bit of a hook. Just fed the zip tie through the hook around the pump. This should be good enough. I mean, I think just the jostling around, that's holding in quite nice. I don't think this receives too much vibration anyways. We're going to see in the long run if this holds up. If not, then I'll just get a different pump with that locating tab in it. Now we have this together. It's time to wrap it up, put everything back, put the ECU back on, connect everything up just right, and I got to put my fuse box back. So I'm going to set up the camera. You guys can watch me put this back together, and then we'll be ready to test it. Just going real snug on those. Don't need to tie them down too much. Just needs to hold this from spilling out. I did not tighten this front bolt because this is how my S-Pod mounts up, through this bolt as well. So just gonna hook up these connectors. Make sure you have that click. Lock it down with the red tab. That click. All that's connected. Now let me put my S-Pod here, put my S-Pod in place here, bolt it down. So I guess my switch really doesn't work. This kind of sucks. Kind of was hoping it was the pump because that would be easier, but I guess I'm gonna have to buy a new switch now. So until then, safe travels. I'll see you guys next time. This is Chris in the Dev Shack signing out. Peace.